Welcome everybody to another episode of the Rugby Scoop podcast. This is the weekly dose of controversy, chaos, clear thinking of rugby. At the moment, it's chaotic. Down under in New Zealand, it's happy times in Bloemfontein. Rassie's home. No longer Eastern Cape Vickers. No longer Eastern Cape. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Rugby Scoop podcast. I am your host. Along with me, Statsman, the Gardener. Along with me, former Blitzbokker, Russian head coach. Now all the way in China, Hong Kong, is everywhere. And the weatherman. Cloudy and gloomy conditions. Currently, there's a dark cloud. There's a dark cloud in New Zealand. They call it the land of the long white cloud. It's no longer white anymore. No longer white anymore. Jade Craig, how are things? Talk to me.
Gloomy, bro. Gloomy. Gloomy after yesterday, bro. It's been gloomy.
Griffin, always available when the All Blacks lose. How are you doing?
Scoop, have we ever been more back? I'm good. It's going to be a spicy one today. I'm excited.
It's going to be spicy indeed. We're not holding back. We're not holding back. It's Mike Tyson, blow-by-blow action. It's Muhammad Ali, rumble in the jungle. It's all happening. Vickers, how are things over there?
Yeah, pretty chilled, mate. Pretty chilled. Just obviously witnessed some crashing this weekend, and then some ending at duck and 0-18. I think it was 19. Was it 19? You? Yeah. So it's been a good weekend for rugby.
Oh, jeez. Right, and all the way from down under, from Australia, from Sydney, New South Wales. Talk to me, Dylan. How are you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, everything's well down here. It's almost summer, so the temperature's starting to climb up again.
Fantastic. Gents, we're not gonna waste any time. Always with news making headlines, all right? And then we jump straight into it. Obviously, good times in South African sport currently. You've got Bafana who are winning. You've got the Proteas winning their first test in India in 15 years. 15 years. That's a long drought. Themba Bavuma and his men obviously overcoming a long time of not winning in India. And you know how the pitches are are conditioned over there. It's almost like playing, I don't know. It's a very tough conditions. I mean, but congratulations to them. And the Springboks having to do it the hard way the second week in a row. Can you believe that? Nonetheless, guys, Bongi, Mbonambi, and Mkhunu has been called up by Rassie Erasmus to come and join the Springbok camp, leading into the Irish Week, the biggest test of this end of the year tour. And then you've got RG Snyman. Vickers, RG Snyman is going to be celebrating his 50th if he starts. We haven't seen him start a lot for the Springboks over the years. I mean, do you think Rassie, because it's his 50th game, he will give him a start this weekend?
Yeah, probably chances are he will definitely give him a go if it's his 50th. But also, I mean, the player understands his role within the team. I think that's one thing that Rassie has been clear about, is each player's role within the team, and he knows that he is that impact player. So, I mean, at the end of the day, once you get to wear the jersey, it doesn't matter whether it's number 1, number 19, number 4. What's important is that you're representing your country.
No, fair. I mean, 50th test match, coming off the bench. Oof. Yeah, I don't know how the fans will respond to that one, but yeah, let's see. As you said, Vickers, I mean, there is a strategy, there is a game plan that is followed by Rasta, obviously, and the players do understand So yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, it's a home game for RG Snyman anyway. So yeah, let's see what transpires after that. In other news, Sale Sharks have basically snapped up Gershwin Ware, yeah, from the Griquas. Jade, you probably saw this guy tearing it up in the Curry Cup over the past couple of months, but he's been snapped up for 4 months by the Premiership side. What do you think? What do you think of Gershwin, Jade?
Yeah, he's a talented prospect. I mean, we also know him from the sevens. He's been in the sevens setup for a bit. He's talent. He's very, very talented, very nippy. He was one of the outstanding players in the Curry Cup this year. I thought he moved on to the Stormers. I thought he was in the Stormers wider training group and on loan in the Stormers. But I see it's just a 4 month short-term deal with Sale Sharks. But it's nice, that guys are coming through the ranks in the Curry Cup, getting deals overseas, because it's really, really nice for them. And it gives guys to, guys who come back from that, that club rugby background and to make that step up all the way through, just shows you that, you don't get the professional contract after school, or you're not in a certain setup at the big union, playing club rugby. And so there is always a path, that's actually good news.
No, fair enough. And JJ van der Mesh, remember him tearing it up at school level? He ended up at Stade de France for a couple of seasons, and now he's with Northampton Saints. He believes that if he plays for Northampton Saints, it's a good way for him to maybe have Rassie get a good look at him, and also maybe it increases his potential chances of representing the Springboks. I mean, Rasta is not one who is currently short on locks, I think, but I mean, he's a big, heavy body, and I think they could use some of that size going forward. But let's see what transpires regarding JJ van der Mesh. And I've always thought he's been a very good talent, but obviously, Russ is very specific on the type of player that he wants within his group. Let's see what transpires there. And then the big one, the huge one, right? We had Japan taking it up against Wales, Griffin. 82nd minute penalty to win it. Jared Evans, ice in his veins, they say. Huh? Eddie Jones, weeping, post-match interview. But Wales have a right to celebrate. Talk to me.
Oh, Scoop, when you said the big one, I put the phone down. I thought, there's no way he can be coming to me. The players, after that kick went over, the players celebrated, hugely. And I've got no problem with that, because these guys who love Wales, who grew up dreaming of playing for Wales, playing rugby for Wales, it means the world to them. And they've had such a horrible time in the Wales jersey that I think they would have taken any kind of win. I think they would have taken any kind of win, any old way. Just get a W up on the roster and say, yes, I have won in a Wales jersey. As a fan, though, as someone who watches a lot of rugby with you guys, has the privilege of being able to sit down and watch the best teams in the world and talk to people about it who know about rugby, I can't celebrate that win for Wales. I think we were terrible in that game. I think we were absolutely awful. I don't think there was signs of progression. I don't think there was signs of it was the stat that jumps out to me was 29% territory at home against Japan.
29.
29. That's what the official end of game stats said. There was a period in the first half where Wales had a 2-man advantage and could not get out of their own half against Japan. Oh. Wow.
Can we call them the Allblacks Welsh side?
It was embarrassing at times. Just the lack of skill. I thought Japan were the better team. I thought their skills were better. I thought their structures were better. So, we got the W. I think we got lucky, and I'm not encouraged, basically.
No, fair enough. Without wasting any time, 14 men, because again, shoulder charge, they call it. Yeah? Let's start with the red card before we get into deep diving and breaking down the Springboks versus Italy. I mean, I posted during this week that when Rassi named his team, and I thought to myself, if there was ever an opportunity for an Italian team that came to South Africa, lost the first half of the first test, won the second half of that first test as well, right? Scoring more points than the Boks in the second half, and then having the second test, maybe they were not as good, but they were playing away from home, and also they didn't have majority of the squad that they that they had yesterday that was playing in South Africa. Coming home now, end of the year tour, full strength Italy, roughly, right? Better team than the one we saw travel to South Africa in the inbound tour. I thought this would have been a best opportunity for Italy at this point to really kind of challenge that Bok team that was selected by Rassi. But obviously, as things go, the Italians crumbled under pressure. The Italians couldn't handle physicality. The Italians crumbled in front of their home crowd. Coaching staff comes to mind right now in terms of game plan, in terms of tactics. Number 10, Gabisi, in terms of creativity, in terms of driving that team into the right areas of the field, seeing where they could exploit the Springboks. They did it once, and when they did it, it was when they scored the try. You know, they kicked a lot of possession away. But before that, because the red card, for you, do you think that was warranted as a permanent red card? You've got Hooker, who's making a tackle at the same time, which affects the drop in height or sudden drop in height. The referees are saying he was always illegal, Mostert. Tucked arm and a shoulder charge. So permanent red card. Last week, we spoke about the other one regarding Lord Diaga, right? Sudden drop of height, but also similar action. But then they spoke about it. He made contact with the head. For me, he makes first contact with the shoulder. I mean, with the chest, right? Chest, and then and then while the body's dropping, obviously it slides up, and obviously the contact with the shoulder. I thought they would have gone, it meets yellow card threshold, and then let's have an off-view bunker review for this one, right? Because we've introduced this bunker review a few times. We've introduced the 20-minute red card for a reason, right? Because we don't want to make those mistakes that were made before. But at this point, it seems like there's a precedent set by officials where they can just give you a permanent red card. They've been given that ownership. They've been given the authority to give those red cards in those situations. But talk to me, Vickers. What are your thoughts on this red card situation?
Yeah, Scoop, I think you said everything there. I think the most important is to understand that I still believe mitigation is always the biggest factor. And we cannot forget that we are in a contact sport. We play rugby is a contact sport. It's a physical contact sport. So you are going to get situations that are not favorable. So when you try to do something like that in terms of rugby, you're always going to find yourself in a very difficult position because you're making decisions as if you weren't expecting something like that to happen. So in netball, they call it they have this two-step. They call it a double step or something, where if you pass the ball and you catch it, you're not allowed to take a step. So you can. Most of the girls do take a step, or boys if they play netball, and then the ref doesn't blow it. So in our rugby, in our situation, whenever you're gonna find yourself in that kind of situation where someone is being tackled, again, it's someone being tackled. and you launching in for a tackle to stop them from moving, you're always going to get that. Like you said, Scoop, it starts in a chest area and then it slides up. Already there's mitigation. And then we talk about the player that was tackling. He obviously tackled the player, and then there's mitigation. So I think a straight red was pretty. I wouldn't call it immature, but I would call it like it was a bit harsh. I would have rather gone for bunker system so that you look at exactly what happened. But again, the Boks had to do it with 14 men, and again, it's another lock.
I know. Jade?
Yeah, I know. That's one of the first few times that I agree with you on a situation. And I mean, I got back to his point last week in terms of the tackle technique, people putting in the hit and then the wrap afterwards. And I mean, that's been taught from, I think last week I sent you picture of me and my kid working in the backyard. And this is technique I teach him as well. Get the hit in and then, get the technique right and then wrap. So everybody's doing it in world rugby. For me, Scoop, it was harsh. Dolman for me, I've seen him throughout Super Rugby. I was really, I'm not his biggest fan, he's not something. He's like a Nick Berry to me. I think he's a New Zealand Nick Berry for me. However, I think it was harsh and it was a big goal. The questions you asked to the team, was there any clear and obvious head contact? Now, Scoop, we all know that rugby is not the main sport in Italy, right? So in terms of their broadcasting and in terms of the TV production that they are giving and they're presenting to us as a picture, it's not always the best TV angles, it's not always, the best, pictures that they are presenting. And for me, I couldn't see anything clear and obvious there that there was out and out direct head contact. Because for me, it looked borderline chin and sternum. That's what it looked for me. Maybe I'm wrong. And the second thing is, look, that they're going on hard with a no wrap. But where is the mitigation as to why he couldn't get in the wrap? There was a double tackle in play. There was 2 tackles in play. It was completely different to Lloyd last week.
Yeah.
Completely different. I think Lloyd was harsh last week, but this one was it was worse. And the questions they're asking, to determine if it's a permanent red card, look like they struck on it. Was there a wrap? No. Was there head contact? No. Is there any mitigation? No. So if there's those 3 questions are no, you're gone. You're gone. So, they're consistent in that. But for me, you've got to look at the overall aspect. I don't think the TMO was getting the best pictures from the television production group. And also it was very, very harsh, very, very, very harsh.
Yeah, Griffin, you wanted to jump in there.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, there was also, I agree with everything Jay said, but there was also later in, I think it was the second half, there was a ruck where the Italian player's gone down clutching his face. And Dolman has said, no, there's nothing there. And to be fair, I agree with that call that there was nothing there. But then I'm sure you guys didn't watch it because you might have been watching Ireland, Australia, but there was one in the French game against Fiji where the Fijian player has tackled the French player with the ball and pushed him to the left. Then the French player has made contact with another Fijian who was just standing still.
Oof.
And his head hits the Fijian. I think it's like head to shoulder. It's not shoulder to head, it's head to shoulder. And the referee's given the Fijian guy a yellow card for it.
No!
Sent it for an off-field bunker review. It's like, they kept it at a yellow. And I think the bunker guy was like, he sent him off for no reason. Just send it back on, lads.
Wow. But I think even the Japan versus Wales game, there's a player from Japan. There's one of the Welsh players running along the touchline, if I'm not mistaken, and someone shared a clip of this. And a Japanese player is tackling the Welsh player from behind, and there's a player from Japan coming across the field, almost like in a T-bone situation. And as the player drops because of the tackle from behind, the Japanese player has a tucked arm and hits him on the chest and also slides up onto the face. And I think Carly was a referee there. And the guy apparently, I'm not sure if he got a yellow card up because I didn't watch a game, but it was similar action to what Mostert had also been sent off for, right? And I don't think there was a red card in the Japan-Wales game, right? If I'm correct.
Yes, Josh Adams got a red card, 20-minute red. It should have been a full red. It was a cheap shot. It was a dirty shot.
Okay, fair enough. But nonetheless, man, I think just this weekend alone in terms of TMO reviews and the delays we're getting. I mean, the game was supposed to be a bit quicker, but now we've come to a standstill. Guys having a tea party in the middle of the field and having to watch or replay 20 times, right? Where we were supposed to have a bunker review that has the opportunity to watch and replay these clips over and over in their own time while the game is happening or while the game is continuing. And now we happen to have all these reviews now taking place with 3 ARs and a TMO. And then we are watching these replays in slow motion as if the game is played in slow motion. I know the game is not played in slow motion, but we're watching these replays in slow motion, which makes it even much harder to kind of mitigate or to make it it makes it even much harder to kind of make an argument about certain tackles, certain movements, dynamic stuff that is currently happening. So it's very difficult for anybody who's watching the game at home looking for a spectacle, because now that's non-existent in all these games that we're watching, because we're having time to sit and wait for 5 minutes, or if not close, 5 minutes. Replay, slow motion, 3 times, 4 times, and then a tea party between the referee and his ARs, and some of the ARs are even disagreeing with the referee and changing or persuading him to go a different direction. Now, as a former ref myself, the law states you are the sole judge as a man in the middle. You are the sole judge of everything. Yes, you've got another pair of eyes. I get it. But I mean, last week we had the guy what's his name? Gardner, being told by his ARs, no, this was always illegal. This was always illegal with the Lord Diaga situation. And Gardner was saying the guy is on the ground. The guy was falling, right? Which is mitigation. That's mitigating circumstances on its own. But at the end of the day, he's banned for 4 games, unfortunately. But now we don't have any common sense in a way. And Vickers just said, it is a dynamic sport. It's a collision sport. If we are expecting a collision sport to be pure, then we might as well play tag rugby. Let's put tags on players, and then people must just pull tags, right? And then in that way, this game can be clean. I mean, we've seen so much effort. Yes, I understand head contact, head collisions is the biggest priority. But at the same time, the product is the biggest priority. If the product is failing by us now sitting at home, going to put the kettle on because we know the TMO is involved. You can cut up some slice of cake because 5 minutes, 6 minutes it's going to take for them to come up with a decision. World Rugby is failing us in giving us a pure and clean product. They're really failing us at the moment, unfortunately. And all we want is a good rugby game. I mean, Cody Taylor, for example, the yellow card he copped halfway line. England were not breaking through lines. England were not breaking through lines from just normal play. Yellow card in that situation. You've got to be kidding me. Get rid of these dinosaurs. Jade, jump in.
Yeah, no, man. Scoop, you hit the nail on the head there. But the thing that concerns me is we went from being in the 2023 World Cup where we referred everything to the bunker because we didn't have the 20-minute red that time, right? So we referred decisions to the bunker, and there was a group that sat and took their time. They had 8 minutes to make a decision whether it was yellow or red. And at the time, if we had a red card, you went off, right? You couldn't come back on. Now they've got a permanent red, a 20-minute red, and a yellow card. But why don't we refer this to the bunker? How are you as an official going to see on the big screen in the stadium and be confident of certain decisions, If there's mitigation, if not, is that the best action? Is that the best, TV camera angle or not? So for me, Scoop, I said, why don't you just refer to the bunker? And then the guy in the bunker can come back and he can stay permanent red card, 20-minute red card or yellow card. Because the guy will be off already. He's got the yellow, he's gone. So take your time, take 8 minutes, go through everything, and then you come back. Because for me, it's almost two things. You're taking 5-6 minutes to make a decision. You're not getting the best TV angles. And then you're ending up making the wrong decision at the end of the day. So for me, utilize the guy in the bunker, because that seems to be slipping away now.
Anyway, we move along and dissect the game itself now. Hugh, your thoughts on Springbok Italy? I mean, I've mentioned a few bit at the beginning of this chat, what I thought of the Italians and what I thought of the squad or the team that was selected by Rassi for this game. And it took a bold risk and it paid off for him, luckily. And they've got very mature, senior, and I think people that are committed to the cause, man. People that are really willing to roll up their sleeves, knuckle down, and put in a great performance for the Springboks. That's what I'm seeing from my side. I didn't think he would take Kolisi off, considering the circumstances, but he still does it regardless. Yet to see Kolisi play 80 minutes in the past couple of years, actually. But I mean, that's the game plan, that's his strategy, and it's paying off for him. What are your thoughts on the current on this game that took place yesterday?
I think if you look at it from Italy's point of view, you've got to be incredibly disappointed, not just with the loss, but with the manner of the loss. I mean, so South Africa have picked a joke side. Let's be honest. This is, Rassi taking the piss, like having no substitute hooker on the bench. When was the last time you ever saw a test match at any level where somebody did that? The combinations that we've not seen before, people like third choices, people who are second choice but playing in a different position. And then they come out when it's raining, you're at home. From Italy's point of view, this team comes out to play against you, you're at home, it's raining. They get a red card, they get another yellow card. They completely bring all their substitutions early, and you score one try against them. And in the period where you have a two-man advantage, you lose 10-3. Not good enough. Just not good enough. And this is something that's been going on with Italy for a while. They've got no ruthless edge to them at all. They've got no killer instincts. They've not got reliable processes for going through to score tries. Garbisi, I watch Garbisi a lot in the top 14 play for Toulon. I say I watch him a lot. I watch Toulon a lot, but I often have to check whether he's still on the pitch. I have to Google it. Has this guy been substituted, or is he still out there? I call him a false 10. You know how in soccer you've got false 9s. Garbisi's a false 10. Like this disappearing act in games, passenger in games, no killer instinct, no taking the game by the scruff, no saying, hey, we're in the 22 against an opposition now, which is down 2 players. When we're at home, we have to score. No, it's all right, guys. We'll take the 3 and let them kick off.
Or miss the 3. Cheapest.
Or miss the 3. This is... And people were gassing up Italy during the week, Scoop. I saw them. Like, don't deny it. I've got the receipt. People were saying, this Italy team, all that back line for Italy, those players. These are friends of mine who were saying this. I was keeping quiet. I was like, we're talking about the same Italy that's got... You're talking about the same Italy that's got enough wooden spoons in the Six Nations to fuel a fire for generations. Like that Italy, that's the one we're talking about. It reminded me about, do you remember in the World Cup, where people were like, can Italy upset the All Blacks? And they ended up copying 90. Honestly, guys, how many times do we need to see this movie?
Jeez. Vickers, how many times should we see this movie?
Sadly, if you know the Italians, what was about to happen, because at the end of the day, I think you spot on with everything that you said. With Italians, one thing is for sure, they can't play 2 games. They can't pull up 2 weekends in a row. They're probably still celebrating from last week beating Australia. So that's the problem, is that whenever
hangover.
Whenever I played against Italy a couple of times with the sevens team. Wherever they win a big game in the pool stages, they always lose the next game. But it's an easy game, so it's a big mentality problem. Unfortunately, obviously you cannot have mental issues, and when you come and try to beat the box, you need to be clear-headed. You need to be strong. You need to be strong-minded. You need to fight for your team. And I think with Italy, after I saw that South Africa went down to 14, I just started laughing because there's no Italian team that's going to beat a Boks side that is going to fight, you know? Yeah, and I think, look, if you look at the game itself, I don't think at any point of the game, if my colleagues can, if my mates can tell me, at any point of the game, did the Boks feel like they're going to lose the game? I don't think at any point. They felt comfortable. It was just another game, one of those games where we play with 14 men. With Kabisi missing so many kicks also, that didn't help because there was no pressure coming to South Africa. So I think if you look at it, I think it was a clear indication of number 1 versus number 12 or 10 or 11, or I don't know. So unfortunately, that's what it was. And I think, look, the Springbok camp at the moment could be very happy with what they're producing. Yes, it's not good with the red cards, but if you're winning test matches with 14 players and beating a number 4 side or number 5 side in the world with 14 men clear, and then you have to play again another game with 14 men, having changed the whole squad, you have to be pretty happy with it. And I think, look, if it's not good. I always talk about cards as discipline issues, which is a culture issue within the squad. But in this instance, I'm honestly saying it's not about the discipline. It's not about the culture of the team. It's purely just mistakes from individuals within, obviously, the officials. And
Are you saying World Rugby is targeting the Boks?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it's purely mistakes by individuals within the officiating. So but for me, I think the Boks deserve the win. Like I said, they looked very comfortable in that game. And it was good to see Ethan at 12. Kenan Moody was there and about, couple of chases, got some high kicks. But other than that, I think the Boks were pretty clear from the start that this is one of those weekends where we just run onto the field and run out.
Yeah, fair enough. Testing all the way in Sydney. Are you with us?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, just to find some positivity with Italy. Was really impressed with their contact work especially in the first half.
Yeah,
like just before halftime, the Boks just kept on coming around the corner, one out runners at pace, and they were just getting double shoulders and just getting stopped on the tracks, and the likes of Khaleesi getting driven back like 4 or 5 meters, and then eventually Pollard went for a drop goal, and then that was taken away, ref 101, and they had to settle for 3 points. So their work in the contact area is it's definitely up to itself in the last year or so, but it's just one part of the game they're really good at the minute.
Yeah, but I mean, from your side, watching the Boks over the years and watching the Boks over there as well, what's the mood like in terms of how dominant they've been over the past couple of years?
Oh, well, Boks are like what we used to speak about 10 years ago about the vintage All Blacks. Everyone compares themselves, like people are talking about Australian rugby at the minute, and then they're continuously comparing ourselves to the Boks. And then we're nowhere near that caliber. And then even though one positive for Australian rugby is getting that win over the Boks at Joburg, so there's some optimism. But back again to this morning, it's hello darkness, all my friend again.
Hello darkness, my old friend. Fantastic. Hugh, jump in.
Yeah, speaking about the Boks side of it, I just want to get people's take on how Rassie is using money at the moment, because I think we all just have to accept now that Mane's first touch of every game is going to be a mistake. He's going to come on, he's going to miss a kick to touch, he's going to get charged down, something's going to happen. But then from then on, I feel like he's a positive off the bench. And if you look at, in my opinion, if you look at like Hooker and Moody, they only came into the game once Mane was on the pitch. And Mane's got yet another try assist for the final try of the game. And Rassie is showing, I think Mane's been on the bench now for 6 or 7 games in a row. And if you look at the score line, like before Manny comes on and after Manny comes on, every time it finishes up better for the Boks than when it was when he came on. So it's a pattern now. But I'm interested to hear everybody else's thoughts on this.
Jade.
Sorry.
Because
No, I wanted to say the question is, Hugh, is that the same when they played the Boks in Eden Park? Sorry, New Zealand Eden Park. And is that the same? Because the thing is, for me, it's easy to make that call and say Mane is making a good impact. But we're talking about against who and what is the situation in the game. 100%.
France was a big one,
yeah,
no?
Yeah, France was a big one, 100%. But it has to be a we call it a pattern or a trend. It has to be a trend. Then we can start to talk about it.
It is a trend because...
No, but I'm not sure it is a trend. That's my problem, is that there are games that Mane is set on the bench and come on. And yes, like we talk about Grant, for example, Grant Williams. We said with Grant last year.
He's the best 9.
He's the best 9. He's making a very good impact from the bench. He's speeding everything up. And then he started starting games. He started even doing better. So for me, I want to see trends. And I think with Mane, the question is, in a big game, in a close game, can he close the game? That's all I'm asking. That's
Wellington?
No, Wellington was an easy win, bro.
Argentina? At Twickenham?
But it's Argentina.
France? Stade de France?
Okay, then.
I'm giving you a list.
No, but if it's a trend, then I give it. But for me, I'm not convinced. 100% I'm not convinced.
Jade.
Real. Are you from PE, brother? It looks like you're the only guy from PE. Let's not support Mane here. Now, listen, Vuyo. I mean, obviously, Vuyo's coming from a coach's perspective. He wants and he demands, him to pick up his game and demands, to get that consistency. But Vuyo's question is that if we in the World Cup final tomorrow, would Mane come on in that last 20 minutes and change the game? Well, the last 2 games, I mean, you've just got to look at it. Yesterday, they were 4 points ahead when Mane came on. And, he took the game again, with both hands they took the Bulls by the horn again. And the way, for me, what Mane does is he presents different pictures for the support tech, different to what Sasha and different to what Paulo does. I mean, yesterday, the pass he threw to, was it kind of Moody, just expressing Moody could go on the outside, beat, shift and smoke his opponent, play the pass inside to Grant Williams. Grant Williams beating 4 players with his movement, try time. So that's what you get from Mane Lebok. Last week as well when came against France, was absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant as well. So, I mean, he's ticking the boxes, Will. He's ticking the boxes. I mean, it's not that the Boks is in a situation, find himself in a situation where he has to come on and they're behind the 8 ball and he has to come on and change the game. He can only come on and play the situation that is presented to him. So in Wellington, he came on earlier for Sasha. I think Sasha went off with an injury. And I think he came on before halftime, if I'm not mistaken. And, he swung the game a little bit. He did it against France. And he did it against Italy again yesterday. So, I mean, he's ticking these boxes. But like Vuyo said, we want to know, can Mane do it in a World Cup semi-final when it's 13 all? Can he come on and change the game? Can he give them that 10 points, 15 points in that last 20 minutes or so? Because that's what we're expecting from him in that last 20 or 15 minutes. But I want to get back, Vuyo, Scoop, to Dal's point regarding Italy in the first half. And, looking at what is Italy's strength and where or how they're gonna hurt you going forward. I mean, we're looking up into the Six Nations as well. And yes, they were good on defense. I mean, they pushed the Boks back. They dominated contact situations in that first half. But then they go and do the most Italy thing where it's level at halftime. They have a scrum on their own ball. The clock's in the red. All you got to do is get channel 1 ball, kick the ball out halftime. And what do? They give away a stupid free kick. From there, the Boks score. Then it's also a situation down by, down by 7 points or down by 4 points. playing against 13 men, like you said, penalty in front of the poles. Instead of taking the scrum or the line out, what did they decide to kick for poles? No, and from there, you mentioned that the Boks outscored them and it was 13 men. They went outscored in 10 points to 3. That was game down. So if Italy wants to put their hand up with the big boys, they got to be braver. They got to play certain situations better, especially game situations like that. Because any team in the world would have just got channel one ball, kick the ball out, go into halftime 3-3 and readjust. You're going into halftime 10-3 is completely different because you got to change your whole shape and change everything coming up in that second half. So I don't know. Gobisi, the fly off. I don't know what's the hype about him. I don't know. If I'm looking at Italy, the only positives for me was basically the fullback, and the 9 had a solid game and the pack was decent. I mean, even looking at Rassi yesterday, I thought, he should have just adjusted a little bit, or just relaxed a little bit with Bowen and Zach, with his props, because the Italian loose head was coming in. All game he was scrumming in, so he should have just get a message to Sia or somebody on field and just ask the AR for ask the referees to look at it. It's not like they were struggling at scrum time. The Italian loose was scrumming illegally, and even's done it to Volcolo a few times as well. So it was a little bit chaotic in that first half from the Bok perspective with all of the changes back and forth. But as much as I don't like to say it, looks like his Andre Esterhuizen experiment last 2 weeks has paid off. I'm not sure, if I'll ever change my opinion towards it. I don't like it, but it paid off. And Scoop, I just want to get your opinion on that. I mean, because we spoke about this Andre Esterhuizen experiment, him playing flank and center. What do you think about it? This hybrid collection of him?
Yeah, I think, for certain situations, playing, because now I'm looking at it from a French perspective, the team they played last week, not really challenging the Springboks. Breakdown stuff, because the thing is, as a flank, right, you need to be roaming quite a lot, either as a support runner in attack shape or dominating those collisions at the breakdown. And if I look at France last week, not really as competitive as one would have thought. The French should have competed. And then I look at Italy. Okay, well, it's Italy, for crying out loud, but a team and a country that really puts emphasis on the breakdown. I think I've posted multiple threads about how either legally or illegally those guys disrupt football and your momentum and your continuity. Ireland, Munster, Leinster. If and only if Rassi's brave enough, I think this weekend will be the true test for Andre Esterhuizen playing flanker and operating in those breakdowns where he gets to meet the Bernies of this world. It's going to be a true test, because at the end of the day, you also need a certain level of fitness for one to play flank for 80 minutes. Hence, your likes of the Sias aren't playing full 80. Hence, the likes of Kwachas are not playing full 80. How often will we see Andre Esterhuizen go 60 minutes at flank? Or used in different formats or different for different attacks, for different situations. Because at scrum, going down at scrum time and then that's it, and then you go back to center. That's not really playing flank, is it? Right? You're just supporting. It's like your flanker getting a yellow card and you put a number 12 on the side of the scrum. Everyone does that, but the true essence of being a flank hasn't been tested, in my view. The true essence of Andre Esterhuizen playing flank hasn't been tested.
But Scoop, you use more energy playing at 12 actually
than as a breakdown specialist.
He's not a 6. Russ is not using Andre as a 6. He's using Andre as a ball carrier.
So he's a 7. So he's not operating in those breakdowns.
He's not operating those breakdowns because he's not using him in that role. He's using him literally to have an extra ball carrier to help out with Pieter-Steph du Toit. So
2 ball carriers then.
Yeah.
Pieter-Steph and Andre.
And Andre, 100%.
And then Monorkia would be the breakdown specialist.
Absolutely, because remember, we spoke about it a lot in this pod, is that South Africa doesn't have tall 8. And they probably using the eights as the probably like your breakdown specialist.
Yeah.
But with Andre and Peter Steff, if you have the two there in the mix, then you can literally have two ball carriers, and you know that you're gonna get your momentum.
Has he carried in those close quarters in the games?
Yeah, he's been carried.
I saw him in the mall, and Hugh, you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I would just want to ask Vuyo's thought on the early substitutes. Like particularly with like Portland, you brought this young kid into the team, and you're giving him a shot starting against a tier 1 rugby nation, and then you hook him that early. Would it not be better to leave him on, see how he adapts, see if he can get himself out of trouble? Was it really going that badly, or is there something else that us normal people don't see? Or do you think Razzie's getting a bit trigger happy with these early substitutions?
No, I think, look, if you look at the situation, I think the reason why they pulled him off, maybe they felt he was struggling. But with props, it's always a fun game because you can always bring back the player onto the field. So for me, the reason I think he pulled him off is because he was struggling. They felt he was struggling, and then also you can't risk, because remember, scrum for South Africa is the main component to drive the starting of the play. So you can't really risk and not have a dominant scrum. You have to make sure that you always have a dominant scrum for South Africa at first. So I feel, for example, the reason they pulled him off is because maybe they were waiting for the players to be a bit tired, and then maybe if he did get another chance to go back on, he would. But in terms of pulling him that early, I think it was basically tactical. Most of the time, New Zealand has done it, South Africa has done it when you start a young player on the wing, although he's known for being a center, because it eases the way into test match level. So now, so it's one of those things where with props it's so nice because you can pull a prop, send him back on, it's okay. So it's not. I don't think it's malicious substitution or targeted at the player. I just think what they thought is the Italian props are fresh, and we have a young kid in our line, and he's not getting the rewards that they used to get from Ox, and I think that's why they decided, Ox or Wilco Low actually. That's why they decided, you know what, let's pull him off. And then if there is an injury, he can always go back on.
Yeah, I think, even the officiating, Italy were getting all the scrum penalties at the time. So I'm assuming also that they were like, there's going to be too much pressure on this young kid, and it's already been pinned twice or 3 times already. So, it'll be important for them to pull him off. Dylan, you wanted to jump in there?
Yeah, guys, just a question. If the World Cup final was tomorrow and Boks were playing, which fly half pairing are you going with? Sasha and Mane or Sasha and Pollard? Just reverting back to that question again.
Vuyo must answer this one.
Yeah, look, it's going to be Pollard all the way.
What?
It's going to be Pollard. Scoop, he's done it twice.
No.
2 times.
No.
Remember, we went into the World Cup 2023. Mane Boks started at 10. 3 games until there was an injury to Marks when Pollard was brought in.
No, because
and then who's
it's 2025 right now.
I am saying the way that I see it now, currently, the Iceman is Pollard. He's going to start.
Wow. Jade?
Well, in 2023, Sacha wasn't there. Right now, I think Sacha's going to take that position. I think, you'll see him grow even further and further into that position. I think Pollard will always be there in the squad. I see Mane on the bench, but for me, the World Cup final was tomorrow. You got to go with Sacha. I think I was always the one that said, you know what, Russell will divert back to Pollard or so, but Sasha for me is you can't not
I think
select him. at the
maybe
moment.
Tony Brown
Brilliant.
has some influence in Sasha starting these games as well lately. Maybe.
So what you guys are saying, basically drop him in the middle of Indian Ocean
No.
and let him swim to South Africa.
No. What I'm saying is I would start Sasha and then the backup would be Pollard on the bench. Sorry, Manny fans. I'm sorry. But that's how I would do it. Because at least then you have what? 75, 80 percentile regarding goal kicking between Sasha and Pollard. So as a safety net, Pollard becomes the guy that sits on the bench, but Sasha is the one who's driving and being the Tom Brady for 60 minutes of that game. And he's going to challenge the line. He's going to make opposition think twice. And then you can shift him to fullback. And then put...
the problem?
Yeah?
Scoop. I mean, we talk a lot in these spaces with you guys. The most difficult thing is putting your trusted player on the bench, because you know what happens when you have a player like Sasha at 10, who is probably now. If he was a newcomer, we'd probably give him the award already, make him the player of the year in terms of newcomer, but he's not. You will always feel as a coach that you have, there's something that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for him to do this. I'm waiting for him to do this. And when the score is like a 1 point difference, maybe like a 11-12, a 10-9, those kind of things. Your player on the bench, as much as their experience, they've been there, they've done it, the quality, you're never going to trust. You're never going to put them on because you're waiting for this kid to just give you that. And my problem, that is my biggest problem, is that I would rather have Sasha on the bench or Mani to send him on to change the game, not necessarily having Pollard on the bench, because Pollard is not going to change the game, but Sasha will and Mani will. Pollard will be the main guy who starts, and he's going to kick his goals, and you can bring in a Sasha and Mani with a 10-11, with a 9-10, with a 6-3, but you cannot bring in a Pollard, because a Pollard will only be waiting for one thing, which is your goal kick. And if you never get that opportunity, you don't have that what I call X factor within your game.
No, fair. I think you've explained it perfectly. I think you've explained. Guys, we're going to sit here and talk about the Springboks all day, all night. We have to jump on to this massive, huge, mammoth sitting in the corner of this space. He's invisible, but we know he's there, Jade. He's massive. He's huge. Huge. Razor and the Allblacks. Biggest elephant in the room today, tonight, this Sunday afternoon on the Rugby Scoop podcast. Jade, talk to me. Because Dylan did chime out a song earlier. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Talk to me, Jade.
Bro, it's going from hello darkness. I would rather say, look at what's that song of Michael Jackson in the in the 80s? Who's bad? Yo, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad, Scoop. It's terrible. I was very, very. Last night was actually, yesterday was, I watched the game. And New Zealand scored 2 tries. And I thought to myself, they scored 2 tries, but I still don't see them winning this game. They were absolutely over yesterday. I think that was one of the worst performances I've seen from an All Black team in a while. And this is coming off the back of the walloping they got to Wellington and the game they lost against Argentina in Argentina. So, I'm not going to dwell too much on the performance yesterday. I'm going to go straight to the elephant in the room. You're sitting with Razor Roberstson now there, who has won 7 Super Rugby titles. I mean, a blind man
would say he's next off the bench, you know. He was next to the rank to get the job. And fair enough, he done his hard yards, he got the opportunity. But I didn't expect him to do all of this and to go out like this and to play this brand of rugby, this style of rugby, and to be stubborn, to stick to the style of rugby. And then you look at it and you look who's around him. I mean, we spoke about it. You're looking at Jason Ryan, who's been his right-hand man since his Crusaders day. We fair enough, you know, he's been okay. But also, the All Black back went backwards since that, I would say, since that shove leading to the Kobus Reinach try against the All Blacks at Eden Park. Since that shove where the All Blacks went backwards, the scrum went backwards like that, the pack hasn't been the same. And I mean, we both rated the pack. Then you're looking at Jason Holland, for example, who's now finishing up. And Scott Hansen. I mean, we all said it last week. What are they doing on defense? There's no dominant tackles. They are so easy to play against. For me, if you get an entry into the All Blacks 22, you know, you back yourself to score. Because you know they're not going to come be aggressive. You know they're not going to make a dominant hits. You know they're passive in defense. So what is the defensive style? Then you're looking at the skills coach, the Mighty Ellison. Oh my word. I mean, they still can't catch an eyeball. They still can't play. You know, their skill set is so poor at the moment. One of runners, I'm looking at the attack. There's no attack. So you're looking at it. Rice has been given a 4-year deal, guys. A 4-year deal, which, I mean, New Zealand Rugby came in and they given a 4-year deal. And they pride themselves of not sacking a coach. I mean, Foster was close to last time where they had, what the guy's name, Robertson, the CEO of New Zealand Rugby going to South Africa, and then the players stepped in and intervened, you know, and they prevented Foster from getting the sack. But then they made brave calls. They got Joe Schmidt in and they got Jason Ryan in to help. And I mean, it turned them around. They came by 1 point from winning the World Cup. However, if you're looking at it now, there's so many coaches with 2-year deals. Who would you extend? What coach would you extend? New Zealand Rugby surely has to come in and say, Razor, come on. We can't go on with this group. I don't care if you can't work with X, Y, or Z, but for the country, you're going to have to make it work. Who is a coach? I mean, I'm not sure he wouldn't say it on the pod, but he will say this number of times he bumped heads with coaches. Yeah. But they had to do it for the well of the team. They had to they bump heads in terms of ideas. Now look at school. You're looking yesterday at Japan, not the best team in the world, by far not the best in the world. But their skill set is far better than the All Blacks at the moment. They catch and pass and moving into space is far better than the All Blacks. Why is that? Because all of the top New Zealand coaches is in Japan. There's so much IP around the world. I mean, you're looking at this Andrew Goodman at Ireland. You're looking at Pat Lam. You're looking at David Rennie. You're looking at Robbie Deans, Hansen. You can even throw Foster in there. All of them are all over the world, you know, giving their IP to other countries. Tony Brown. Who's in New Zealand? Who's giving the IP to these All Blacks? Jason Holland. Scott Hansen. Who are they? What have they won? You know? So it's one of two things. Either they got to tell Wayne Smith, listen, Wayne Smith, please, you've got to come back for 2 years. You've got to help raise a year. You've got to get Jamie Joseph closer. Yeah. You got to get these guys closer. You got to approach guys like maybe a David Rennie or a Robbie Deans, something like that. Bring them closer in. I mean, I'm pretty much sure tomorrow, and I'm saying this with confidence. If Razor was sacked tomorrow and Jamie Joseph got the coach, by the end of the Wales game, it will be Tony Brown's last test match as his box assistant coach. We come back. But it just shows that they don't want to work with Razor. They don't want to work. Certain coaches in New Zealand Rugby, they want to work with the union. They don't want to work with Razor. So what's happening? They're all moving away. And they're giving the IP to other countries. Look at the Boks playing heads up rugby at times. New Zealand, bash, head down, first into contact. Leroy Carter, chip and chase. Billy Brock the free on the inside. My man decides, no, he's going to run into the fullback. Same with Cam Ruigo. Why? Where's this? Where's the razzle dazzle? I can't believe it's cool. Because you're looking at the Crusaders team that Razor had. And I mean, yeah, he had Richie Mwanga, he had, stalwarts in his team. However, he could play 4 or 5 different game plans against you. He could play tight, physical, 10-man. He could play, expansive game plan. He could play kicking game. And defense, they use multiple different defensive styles. I know it was a Super Rugby, but still, they use the rush defense at times. They use the touchline as a defensive times. And there were so many different game plans out there. He did it according to his opposition. But now, this guy is so fascinated with getting the ball in contact, with protecting the ball in contact and making contact. And at the end of the game, he still states that the team played well. Now I'm looking at myself like, where did they play well? Where did they play well? The downfall started. The downfall started with this talk was the squad was never ever fit enough to play 3 games on a trot back to back. You can't go and play in Chicago against Ireland, and then you're landing in Scotland Sunday, Monday, and then you got to play Scotland the Saturday, and now you got England the next week. But now you're playing the likes of Cody Taylor, Audie Savia, Odin Barrett every week, every game. Surely against Scotland was the time he had to alternate. He should have put the Cody Taylor on the bench, maybe rested the Audie Savia, He freshened up his squad. Because tomorrow if Odin Barrett goes down, then he's going to rely on Ruben Love, who hasn't kicked the ball on top. Then he's going to rely on the next one of the land, but they haven't played any rugby.
Yeah.
When was we out of Stamapeni Fina? When was we out of these guys? They haven't been seen. Razor doesn't trust these guys. So how to throw them in the deep end? He doesn't trust them. Yesterday Cam Roygaard went off the 5th year, the ankle injury. And Otis Rattemo was so slow, was so out of shape. He wasn't used to that intensity. It just shows he didn't back these guys. We're getting guys like Rassi, all of them using the squad. Now, Scoop, I look at it from an All Black perspective, and they got to make some big decisions. Big decisions when Razor gets back. It's got to be similar to the time 2007 when Shags and failed at the World Cup, and they have to make some big decisions. They got to make some big decisions in coaching personnel. Number 2 is they got to get the Super Rugby teams and everybody, talking and out of one mouth, because at the moment there's too many different styles in Super Rugby. New Zealand Rugby never was like that. And also, Razor's got to look at it and say, New Zealand Rugby, I need more camps during the year. Because if I don't get 1 or 2 alignment camps, during Super Rugby, even for 1 or 2 days, just to share ideas and share, the way forward, when they come to South Africa next year, they're going to get a yellow hiding. The Boks can beat them 4-0 next year if they're going to continue like this.
Amazing grace, how terrible the song. Dylan, talk to me about the All Blacks. Vickers, you'll jump in after this.
Oh, where do we start with the All Blacks? Let's start off with the strike play. So Jason Holland, that was his role, hired to launch strike plays. I don't think during Razor's tenure I've ever seen a launch play from a set piece where your 13's coming short, blindside winger sweeping across. Have you ever seen a try where a set piece try off a line out or a scrum? It's always been a midfielder just putting the head down and carrying. And even in that carrying, the outside men, they just look like cleaners. They don't look like valid options. So the defense knows it's just one ball carrier, and they're just getting double shoulders on the carrier and just driving him back. Like you see the Ollie Lawrence try yesterday to who's the other midfielder for England? What's his name? Who played? Dingwall, yeah. You saw Dingwall coming on an angle, Ollie Lawrence flat to the line and a nice deep pass. That used to be All Black rugby, and we never see that anymore. It's just Quinn Tupaia, main carrier, and then you get the 2 cleaners from the side, very narrow to him, just cleaning out. And then teams are just launching on Quinn Tupaia and getting double shoulders. And even the attack. Like there was a time where they were going back, and then Tamati Williams, one of the biggest boys in the park, like 145 kilos, 6'5". He's pulling the ball out the back of a static ball. The ruck's like 6-7 seconds slow, and the English defense just comes out and just whacks McKenzie and knocks the ball on. Where's the wigger like that All Black rugby where they used to come around the corner, bite into the mouth guard at pace, and just drive, and then a brutal clean out like Brodie Retallick, just wiping 2 men off the field, quick ball, and just generating that momentum. It feels like they're just trying to get the ball to space, get the ball to the edge, and just see if something happens. And if nothing's on, they just kick it up, just kick it back, box kick it. Like Razor speaks about Test rugby is about big, powerful men, and he's got big, powerful men. Anyone who says All Black rugby doesn't have power in their team is false. Look at Vern Cotter, what he did with the Blues. Like you've got big boys like 145 kilo passenger see Samson and Toki Hao. These guys are static, not coming onto the ball at speed. And the defense, and there's no deception at the line. Like the plus runners in the pod are just very narrowly latched into him, and they're not valid options. And teams are just coming and just walloping the ball carrier, and they're not getting any speed or ball. And then they still have the audacity to play to an edge of like a 6-7 second slow ball. So I don't know, I think Scott Hansen's running the attack. I just honestly can't understand what they're trying to get with the attack, and they don't create anything with their face play.
Yeah.
Unless they go to edge and they find a missed tackle, like the Gary Ringrose missed tackle, which happened in the Ireland game. If Gary Ringrose had made that tackle, like they're not going anywhere. They'll just box kick it probably. So I just really can't understand what they're trying to do. Like their attack is, if I'm being brutally honest, Japan has got much more better face play attack.
Yeah.
Argentina, Italy. I think they rank 9th, 10th if in their face play attack, in their creation. I reckon the Wallabies even have a much better face play attack. Like they are not creating anything. Their speed, Razor speaks about playing at speed. I don't think they're playing at speed. Their rocks are really, really slow.
Oh, there we go. Vickers.
Dylan, you are spot on, mate. I think you need to be part of this pod every week because it's so sad. You know, it is very sad when you watch New Zealand and you think, through myself as a South African, that what am I watching? When we watched New Zealand back in the days, we should know that there's going to be some razzle dazzle, but there's going to be also the front up, and I think that's what. That's the biggest issue with what I have with the current group is that I think Jade was spot on what he was talking about. For me, the biggest problem is why all the coaches are running away.
Yeah.
When a coach gets a job that every single person is screaming for that coach to get the job, usually the people that know that coach, how he coaches, how he does things, they distance themselves if they know that the guy is not qualified. Now, the problem is that with Razor, I'm not saying he's not qualified, by the way. I'm just saying that the problem is he had a different idea to test level right before he came onto the job. It's exactly the same as Alistair Coetzee point. If you remember, the whole of South Africa was screaming. Here's a guy who's reached the final of the Super Rugby. He's won Currie Cups. Get him in the job. He got in the job. Everyone distanced themselves. And then he started distancing himself with his assistant coaching because he was given assistant coaching. And that's where the problem started. Now, with Razor, it's exactly similar, is that the whole country wanted this one coach. But everyone forgets that a head coach is not a head coach until he has his assistants. Because his assistants is what make him better. It's what make him or her the better coach for the team. For example, most head coaches I know focus on culture. They don't even coach the team. They focus on team culture. Assistants focus on the nitty-gritties of the team. That's what happens. So if it's a head coach, you don't have top quality assistant coaches, then you run into the problem of not getting the product on the field. And that's what I see with New Zealand. Because let's be honest, yes, maybe barring one or two players outside this current squad, barring one or two players that are not selected. But what else do they have with it's the squad? This is the squad. This is what they have. There's no one. We spoke about Leicester, Fainal Nuku coming in. He's in the squad. but there's still no changes. You still don't feel threatened with the backs. You still don't feel. So for me, I think the most important thing is that with what Jade was talking about, that's when I put my hand up, is that I think, yes, New Zealand rugby need obviously to focus on of the head coach and try and find out what is going on, and they step in or whatever. But the most important, when a coach is appointed and he is not having the support, the coach needs to realize, this is my last opportunity. If you guys remember 2007, when Graham Henry was extended his contract, he had a massive coaching staff that he brought in after. It's the same thing with if you're gonna have a main coach where you guys believe he's the best, you need to give him the tools so that he can run the system, besides having to worry about small things like catching, like high ball catching. But you cannot give him a coach who retired 5 years ago, and you want to play in an international phase and think that it's going to be easy. It's very difficult. So for me, I think Jade was spot on. They need to step in. Yes, the game yesterday was poor. They were leading 12-0. I don't know how it changed. And the one thing that people will talk about is the drop goals of Ford. The one thing that I've noticed with England is that if Ford is starting and Mitchell is starting, those two control the game very well. And it's the reason why I thought they could actually upset South Africa in the semi-final in 2023. But again, it's what you do as a coach that you nullify.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
I think there's a bigger problem as well. I don't know if you guys watched the breakdown this evening. Jeff Wilson was saying, like, the New Zealand framework, like coaches, like across the board, were really unhappy with the way Racer was appointed right before the World Cup, and that's taken a lot of the coaches away from the New Zealand rugby system. And now they've gone to Japan and they don't really want to work with Racer. And Jeff Wilson was saying, like, there needs to be changes in the coaching setup without directly saying there needs to be some change. And what he was saying was, like, guys like Mike Cron, they've got really bad blood with New Zealand Rugby Union, and that's why he's gone to Australia, to the Wallabies now. That no other coaches are wanting to work with Racer in that setup because of the appointment. It felt like Racer came out saying he wanted the job, and then he came out on a podcast saying, I want to win World Cup. So he was almost like demanding, and there was not a thorough process, and it was right before the World Cup. So the available coaches are in New Zealand Rugby at the moment to run an attack. I would say just Wayne Smith or Ben Smith, who's at the Highlanders.
Yeah,
oh man, where do we even begin? Look, we can be honest about the current system and the current situation in New Zealand rugby. Jade has been spot on. Dylan, you've been spot on. Vickers has been spot on. I know he can't wait to jump on this. But from me and my perspective right now, the All Blacks, I think there's a massive culture problem. There's a massive leadership problem. There's a massive coaching alignment problem with the All Blacks. And all of these things together are kind of playing out on the field. I can go back and pinpoint all the losses. We all know what happened in those losses. But even pinpointing out the wins, I'll go back to maybe when the French came to New Zealand, that first test in Dunedin. Wasn't convincing. Razor, as Jade said, there was no alignment camps or a lot of alignment camps before that test itself, right? And luckily they scraped through to a C team of French rugby, right? And then second test, obviously, build things up, use the forwards as the main dominant attack, for lack of a better word. So we used the forwards quite a lot in the second test, and guess what happened? The All Blacks put 40 on France, right? Yeah. And if I go back to some of the game, I go back to Argentina. First test, a lot of forward pack power, a lot of forward pack momentum. win the test convincingly, thinking that now the second test in Argentina should be a similar structure, similar pattern on attack. But it wasn't. They went back to playing too much rugby, making a lot of passes between the two 10-meter lines. And they did that again against England, and they were going nowhere. And it feels like the aerial kicks only come. They only come when they see that they haven't gotten ascendancy with this phase play, multiple phase play. And then Bowden Barrett will go, okay, I'm going to kick the ball now. Or Bowden Barrett will tell Cam Roigard, kick the ball up. Bowden Barrett will kick the ball so far that his rabbits, the guys that chase the ball, will not even get a chance to compete for that ball. The English backfield can catch a ball, go and switch on the kettle, make a cup of tea, and then kick the ball back to New Zealand. That's how bad his kicks are. Roigard had one kick that I thought, this is fucking brilliant. He was on the halfway line. They played multiple phases. He had a nice up and under, and I think Fainganuku was chasing, or it was Carter who was chasing. But the lack of commitment, the lack of jumping up and just putting your hand out, let it be a knock-on, because now you've gained territorial advantage. I don't care how you catch the ball. I mean, it feels like this is not drilled into this team or the players hard enough, where you go, I don't care if you catch the ball. I don't care if it's a knock-on. I don't care what happens. But give me an effort where you put your hand up, or you jump and try and bump the guy off the air, or let the guy tackle you while you're in the air. We get a penalty. We go for poles. It's 3 points for us. We've won that battle. They don't have those small little details into the attack. I mean, attack, guys, is not a very difficult thing, especially with these aerial skills that have been included since Jake White took over, or when what's his name now? 2009 Springbok coach with his assistants, where they introduced this whole aerial skills, where they challenged the Rokothokos, where they challenged the Sivivatus back in those days, So for me, I mean, attack is not just passing the ball around. Also then creativity, as you've mentioned, Dylan, in terms of having those one-off runners, having the guy looping around. There's none of that. And also running at pace. Everyone's running lateral. Everyone's running towards the touchline. There's no one coming in at pace to change the direction. There's no one actually looping around. I mean, the wingers, how often do we see the All Black wingers going around and adding more numbers on the other side or on the other wing? How often do we get that? We don't see that at all. I mean, the only time, like I said to Jade, I think yesterday, and other people that I was on the phone call with, the proper structure that we've had, probably the best structure that I've seen from this team was when Wayne Smith was involved in the week leading up to Eden Park. And the way the defensive patterns were more, yes, I can understand the hype and maybe, we want to protect Eden Park record, whatever, because then it kind of feels like a fuzzy element-esque type of environment where, it's a make or break game. Now we need to respond. Remember Ellis Park 2022?
25.
Or 2000, I mean, that make or break games, they need to respond. Make or break, you lose a game against Argentina, the first test under Fozzie, make or break game, we need to respond. Lose another test match against Australia or whatever, make or break game, we need to respond. So everything has been based on responses. It hasn't been based on taking the game by the scruff of the neck. Or
very reactive.
Very reactive. That's the word. And very reactive rugby.
One of the biggest concerns is their work off the ball is terrible. Like, you see the decoy runners, they're just with dead legs. It's like my grandma going to the shops down the road. They're just jogging, and they're not real threats. Like, as a defender, I know you're never getting the ball because it's like just having a little jog, and their work. Like, there was one phase yesterday where they got a decent amount of go forward playing to the blind side, and then Bowden Barrett was trying to get a play going on to the right edge, and there's no numbers. The back line, Billy Proctor is just walking across, and there's no loot. The forwards are just cramped up there, and he couldn't run the play because there was no. He was short on numbers on the right edge, and England had more numbers, even though they had a bit of front foot ball. And Barrett just ended up kicking away. Like the work off the ball has been absolutely terrible.
That's the culture. That is the culture that has been created by the coaching staff. Because there's no way that people that are walking on the park and not understanding plays are still on the field. Because you need to be pulling those people off. If you do have authority, if you do have control. Because I keep saying, I'll say this again. Guys like Bowden Barrett, I think, have more say in the team than the coaches themselves. Because I think Bowden Barrett, with the 144 caps, he's probably saying, hey, this is how we've done things under the Hanson era. Or this is how we've done things. Oh, no, he wasn't under Henry. But this is what we did. This is what we did back in those days. And unfortunately, the game plan is not, or the foundation hasn't been set. Hugh, you've been waiting way too long. Talk to me.
Well. I think the worry for me about Razor that's come out of this game is that before the game, I could have told you, or anybody who's watched England or had a glance at England stats or watched any England highlights, not even for the whole year, just the last couple of games, could have told you what England were going to do in this game. And Razor had no plan for it. There was no special tactic to combat what England are doing, because there were no surprises from what England brought in this game. You know, like I said, I could have told him what England were going to do, and there was nothing. There was no kind of like, okay, this is how we deal with the high ball. Okay, this is how we deal with the rabbits and the shadows from England's kick chase. This is how we, watch for how they spread the ball. I think that in the first half, England had 3 line breaks, and 2 of them were from kicks being regathered. And that's like, it's not a surprise, guys. Like, you must have known that this was coming. And there was just no answer for it. And, whenever England had the ball, it was like that England get the ball, they go and they get on the bus, and they go and the bus drives to New Zealand's 22 and England get off. And it was in the first half, England didn't convert that territory into points. And I actually thought that George Ford went for a couple of drop goals. It would have been better to stick with the try. But eventually in the second half, they started turning the entries into points.
Yeah.
And guess what? They won the game. And it's just the same old problem. It's tactically, you talk about skills. There was the clip I sent you guys in the chat. There was the clip of the English media, look at the All Blacks practicing offloads. Like, guys, check the stats. This All Blacks team does not offload. This is why I said this for the cameras. And guess what? In the whole game, 3 offloads from the All Blacks. This is New Zealand we're talking about. They don't offload. And everything that we've seen from this 2025 so far manifested in this game, came about. And it was Razor not being able to come up with a tactic, to come up with a strategy to take away England's strengths, to take away England's incredibly obvious, everyone knew they were coming game plan, and also Razor not being able to solve the long-running All Blacks issues that have been underlying since he took over. And what has happened to the All Blacks driving maul? The first 5 games of this season, they couldn't stop scoring from the maul against France, against Argentina. Now, the maul couldn't win a meter in this game. What's gone wrong, guys? And it's just, like I said, not having an answer ready for questions that you knew were coming, not acceptable.
No, changes need to be made from here onwards. Unfortunately, they need to get people involved. Said this last week. If he loses this game, New Zealand rugby needs to set up an urgent meeting as soon as they land. I mean, even Wales are licking their lips right now.
Oh, calm down.
Welsh are licking their lips right now. Principality Stadium. Huh? It's gonna be, oh man. Because he's gonna be people. I mean, this game has kind of forced his hand. I mean, do you think he will play the same team he played that he put out against England? I highly doubt it. Now he's gonna give out.
What does it matter? What does it matter? Let's
Speaking to the mic, Jade, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, what is the deal? What is the deal? Let's say Ruben Love gets a start at 10, and let's say he has a cracker, storm out game, right?
Too late.
It's too late. Next
Still
season,
not.
next season he's gonna go off Super Rugby form again. You know, he's gonna go Super Rugby form and he's gonna say, okay, right, we're gonna give this one a chance. We're gonna put them in the team. It's too late. Whatever happens in this game against Wales, whoever plays well, it's gonna go. I wouldn't say unnoticed, but it's not like they're gonna put up their hand for selection in the next test, because the next test is only in June, July. So it's too late. The game that mattered was on yesterday, because that showed how far they are from from being elite in world rugby. And the problem even for New Zealand rugby is the 3 losses they lost this year. They got hiding. They got hiding.
Yeah.
They got a hiding yesterday. They got a hiding against Africa. They got a hiding against Australia. So yeah, for me, that's a shame. If you're looking at the 3 losses, it wasn't by a single point score. It was by a 2-point score more. So that's the problem. And I mean, it's too late. It's too late to say, let's bring in Ruben Love, let's bring in George Bell, let's bring in X, Y, and Z. It's not gonna help. It's not Rico Ione.
George freaking Bridge, man. Imagine.
Dude, it's 2020, it's 2025. We're still selecting Anton Lennon-Brown and center, brother.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't cop a yellow card. I'm surprised he didn't.
I mean, he pulls off Quinto Pai after 50 minutes. Brings on Anton Lennon-Brown, keeps on Billy Proctor. What's going on?
All I remember is 2017 when the Boks lost to Italy.
Changes needed to be made.
So,
and you made changes. And you made changes that December, because that December changes were made of the same year.
That game was the decision to decide, you know what, this bus, cut the tires.
Yeah.
In fact, slash
the museum, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Get rid of the dinosaur. I'm sorry.
Dinosaur. Yeah, get rid of
God. But anyway, guys, I know we can dwell on about the All Blacks forever. I think we've said what we needed to say today. But we cannot forget what's happening next week. It's a big one. We need some predictions. Bricken, Bricken. I'm going to start off with you. There's a massive game, Springboks, Ireland. Rassie, this is his nemesis. This is one team, I don't know, even if Ireland or the Springboks play well, there's somehow Ireland find a way to kind of upset the Boks. I don't know how, but they have a tendency of doing so. And according to everyone, this is Rassie's first game against Ireland at home. Talk to me about this game and what your thoughts are, and who do you see winning in Dublin?
When you say winning, do you mean on the scoreboard or getting the most red cards?
Scoreboard. Scoreboard, and I'm sure there's going to be a red card next week as well.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me.
I think South Africa are favourites. Look, you don't get to be back-to-back world champions, back-to-back rugby championship champions, number 1 team in the world, and not be favourites for every single game that you play. Yes, Ireland smashed Australia. Australia are falling apart in front of our eyes. They lost to Italy. And this is the same Italian team that went and played like that against a 14-man B team Springboks. So Springboks are favourites. I think they're more advanced. I think they've got better players. I think their tactics are better. But something about Ireland just does something to the Springboks. We don't know what that is. So it's a big one. It's a big one. I think tight, but ultimately the Springboks will win. And Sasha to score a try.
Boom. Boom. Vickers.
Boks by 10.
10!
Boks by 10.
Wow. Convincing win by the Spring. And it's a nice weekend next week, huh? Wales, New Zealand, Ireland, South Africa, France, Australia. Australia need to redeem themselves, man. Come on. Argentina, England.
Unfortunately, Dylan has to suffer. This one has to be the longest tour ever. Jesus.
Jade, Springboks and Ireland.
Oh, Ireland depends on the 12. He's McCloskey. I don't think he's available. He makes a big difference in that team. But I saw yesterday, Mac Hansen, he was brilliant at 15. And it also depends on what Farrell does. Does he stick with that loose forward trio, who I thought was better? Was it Ryan, Byrne, and then it was Torres at 7 and Conan at 8. For me, that loose trio was a little bit better. That Van der Fleer looked like he tapered off in recent years.
Yeah.
So it depends on who he selects, also what he does. Ireland at scrum time is up in Australia also yesterday for me. They look better at scrum time and occasions in Ireland. So for me, will they be able to stand the Bok back? I don't think so, especially with Joe McCarthy not being there. He's the odd man at lock. So I don't know if for me, I think the Boks is going to be from the weekend. They're not happy with how they played against Italy, although there's a few guys will come back into the team again, but I think the Boks next week. I don't think Ireland will beat them. I think the Boks will beat Ireland next week, and I think it will be by a score.
Oh, Dylan, your prediction for Springboks in South Africa? South Africa and Ireland.
Well, I think Ireland's going to go leading into halftime by 2 points, probably 17-15, and then one of the Springboks let loose at the 65th minute for 4 tries in the last 15 minutes and end up with 40-17. That's what I feel. They just really put the foot on the throat in that last 15 minutes.
Yeah. You're right. It's been a trend.
And Bandiaki's been a bit off, and I think Stuart McCloskey, he went off injured this morning. Yeah, not sure. The front rows are a bit dodgy, and I think Ruan Nokia will really go after the line out as well. But Ireland will get off to a start, but it's going to be ruthless in the last 15 minutes. It'll be a bit like the French game in Six Nations.
So basically, Dylan is telling us Manie Libbok is the number 23 jersey or number 2. Do you go 6-2 split, or do you go 5-3?
It depends how you use Andre Hesterhazen. If he's on 21, the 21 jersey, then back one you go with Manie and who's and Grant Williams. Yeah, I'll go. Is that a 5-3 or is that a 4?
I doubt they go 6-2 split for you because Jean Klein didn't really do much yesterday at lock. And Frans and Mostert will pick up a suspension, so that means they'll be struggling to have 2 out-and-out locks on the bench. So they might just, have Peter Steff to cover there and move him into lock if they do want to go with the 2 locks. Peter Steff to start at 7, but maybe to move into lock, and then have either one of Ergia or Nokia on the bench. But I think Ergia will play with the bench next week in his 50th. I think you have to start Nokia and Eben next week. So because of the lock situation, I don't think he'll go 6-2. I think what he'll do is he'll make place for Kwacha and Esterhazen on the bench. But Esterhazen will be that hybrid.
So who starts at loosehead?
Starts at loosehead next week. I think you'll go with... the guy from the Bulls. What's his name? He's still come. He'll stop.
You wouldn't go Thomas?
To Toy?
No, Thomas Tighted.
Definitely.
Thomas Tighted.
No, but Wilkelo?
Off the bench.
Wilkelo from the bench.
Okay. You see?
Guys, I know we're almost going for 2 hours now. So, we have to cut the lorry, the dinosaur, the museum. It's been a lovely chat. It's been a great chat. Thanks you. Thanks Vickers. Thanks Jade. Dylan, it's 1 a.m. I'm sure right now in Sydney. So thanks for staying up. And thanks to all the listeners as well. It's been a great show. And we'll put this up on the podcast. And man, have a lovely weekend. And have a lovely Sunday and a lovely week ahead. That's what I wanted to say. Cheers guys. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man.
Yes, fellas.